Welcome back to the channel, and today we have two brand new Civivis being released. The first one is the Civivi Primatrox. This is a nice EDC size, coming in at 7.87 inches with a 3.48 inch blade of Nitro V stainless steel. This one has a nice satin finish on it with the cabochon wood, tip up reversible pocket clip. It's comfortable. And this thing's super lightweight at 3.39 ounces. It was a fun one to use, got a low tip drop point. It's a versatile blade. It sliced fairly well. And the price on these, in my opinion, is pretty darn reasonable. This one with the cabochon wood and the satin blade comes in at $59, or you can get it all blacked out, black G10, black blade for $55, or satin with JG10 for $55. This is the one that appealed to me the most. I think it's an attractive looking knife. And like I said, it's a nice and light one, easy one to carry. Very, very smooth action, very snappy action. I mean, what we've come to expect from Civivi. Overall, this is a nice looking knife and a slicing knife as well. Good jimping up top. If you're interested in any of the new Civivis, I will have them linked down in the description. I only have two of the current new releases, but I think there were maybe one or two more. This next one I thought was fairly interesting. This is Civivi RS71. RS standing for Mr. RS Blade Works. There's his maker's mark. You may know him from the Vosteed RS Chaos, same designer, the same designer as the Vosteed Moro. And he's also designed another one I know for Vosteed, the one that has the G10 scales with the beaked blade. So pretty interesting stuff. I've liked pretty much all of his designs so far. Being that I don't have any spear points like this, at least as big as this one, I was kind of excited to check this one out. I love this G10 colorway right here. I think it looks really nice. So this one will go a little bit more into detail, and I'll actually put the testing up on this one. I had the testing for the Primatrox as well, but this one I wanted to get up first. I may do a dedicated review on that one if that's something y'all want to see. So like I said, this is a big knife coming in at 9.3 inches long with a 4-inch spear point blade of Nitro V stainless steel. My particular one is a nice satin finish there. Got a nice point for piercing, and that's going to make it a very versatile blade. I could easily get that tip to do drag cuts, fine precision work, piercing, and then you have such a gentle belly going up to that tip that hand cuts are going to be very easy as well. And then cutting on a flat surface and a pinch grip is going to be very easy as well. You do have two little jumps up top, and I will say they are fairly effective, especially if you're right past that guard. Not something I really care about, but it's there. You also have this, I don't know if you call that blood grooves in the middle or what you call it, just some milling. These are dual hollow grinds on both sides. Really glad they went with a hollow grind here since it's such a short grind height. You do have a sharpening choil. You actually have two. As you can see there, I'm sure they're just trying to mimic the top up here. And being this is a hollow grind, you should have quite a few sharpenings before it'll widen up, and it'd be easy to widen this one up right here. Fairly easy. I don't know if I said it or not. No. You have this short grind height, but with that hollow grind, they managed to get it down to around 20 thousandths behind the edge. I'm interested to see how this one performs. This one came with a pretty good edge out of box. I was kind of interested to see how this one was going to perform. I've never really tested that I can recall a spear point like this, or a dagger grind, whatever this is considered. Like that they have double hollow grinds on this just to bring some of the material away. Now we're going to test the ergos, and you got a fairly neutral handle. It's a pretty big handle, so you can choke back, you can choke up. You got a guard, you got a top and bottom guard, and I'm able to get a lot of pressure into the wood. Nothing was poking or prodding me. Even though the clip's fairly long, it's beveled well. It stayed out of the way of my palm. I didn't feel it at all. Now, when I really bear down, I could feel a little flex in the scales, but nothing to be concerned with. I would, however, probably beware of the micarta. With such big handles like this, that one probably flexes a good bit more. But I was kind of surprised. Here And the 1/2-inch sisal rope, a lot of times Civivi, their edges come over polished. This one has a good bit of bite up there by the tip, and it's slicing very well. Usually as long as the edge bevel's not like 24 degrees per side or higher, and it's fairly sharp, it usually performs really well here. Nitro V does, about similar to 14C, maybe a little better, but it's so minute I wouldn't even really notice. It does feel a little bit different sharpening though. They both take screaming sharp edges, and they were able to get this down to around 20 thousandths behind the edge, which is pretty great since it's such a low hollow grind. But I was just happy that this one was performing well. Now I will say, whenever the way I hold it, that top guard was every once in a while I was up close to that, and it was very uncomfortable. But that was just my hand positioning. Your mileage may vary, and I was, like I said, able to make an adjustment. There you go. You could use that tip, like I said earlier, to do the drag cuts very easily. I will say that they got those two little jumps on the spine, and they're actually pretty effective, especially with gloves on. They really grab the glove. I was kind of surprised on how well it was cutting this dent stuff. Now, the corner cardboard, it did cause a little bit of drag, but it wasn't bad. Not as bad as I expected it to be. So overall, I'm pretty impressed. It performed nice, it held its edge good, and it was comfortable pretty much the entire time. So I give this one an A++. Now let's take a look at the deployment and the action of this knife. It's a flipper and thumb stud deployer. You have some jimps up here. This thing comes rocketing out. Very well tuned detent, and it's tuned for both the flipper and the thumb studs. It's not always easy to get both of them right, but they did it here. Since that flipper tab is sitting in front of that pivot, you're getting a lot of momentum. Once that blade breaks that detent, it comes thwacking out. Riding on ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent ball, this thing came out of box very smooth. And those thumb studs work just fine. I can thumb flick it. I can reverse flick it. I can slow roll it. I do wish that they would have had a little bit more texture on these studs. They're pretty smooth to the touch. Not bad. I can get a thumb flick fairly easy. And being that you have the guards on both sides, you can wave this out of the pocket rather easily. Just drag it, hook it to the pocket, and it will come out. I've done it on accident a couple of times. But I think it would have been even easier if they would have put a little bit of jimping right there. But like I said, it still works. Not something I care about. I don't ever wave my knives out of my pocket. Now let's take a look at these handles. Very attractive looking handles. I like this. I like the little milled lines that give you a window to the other color G10 underneath. You have ivory G10 at the bottom over black peel ply G10. As you can see, those milled lines along with the peel ply give it the perfect amount of texture. And as you can see, you have jimping all over the place. I was kind of worried that was going to be uncomfortable, but no, it was fine. You have a flush pivot and flush hardware back here, and they even milled out the G10 around here, giving you a pivot collar, a different color, pivot collar there. Torx T8 throughout. Ginormous lanyard hole. I could fit a baby arm in there. You have blasted liners. We have a pretty large titanium pocket clip, and it doesn't have a ton of ramp underneath. I had no issues going in and out of my jeans or my shorts. They don't have a flat spot on top of the G10, so it will become a pocket shredder. I'm gonna tell you that now. I can hear it when it goes in and out of my pants, and it does have a good bit of tension there. It's not deep carry, but you have that much sticking out. The lanyard hole's above, so if you do use a lanyard, it will be above the seam where you want it to be. Tip up right hand carry only. They have tons and tons of internal milling on the top and bottom liners to reduce weight as much as possible, bringing the weight to 128.5 grams or 4.53 ounces. The lockup on my knife is sitting around, I'd say 50, maybe even 60%. And the access to the lock bar is good. This comes down a little bit further. You got a little bit of texture there. For me, it's easy to get my finger in there, no problem whatsoever. I don't have any up and down whatsoever, but I can flex side to side just because of how long this blade is. Some quick size comparisons. We have the Vosteed Gator, which is almost identical in length. Then we have the Off-Grid Knives XL Cayman, and the Cayman's just a hair shorter. Next up, we have the Kaiser XL Sheepdog and the Civivi Vexillum. The XL Sheepdog's about identical in length. The Vexillum's a hair shorter. And lastly, of course, it's going to dwarf the Ontario Rat 1 and 2. Now for my nitpicks and complaints, I would have liked a few more jips up here if you can put any. Not the biggest deal, but it wouldn't hurt. Maybe a little bit better texture on those thumb studs and no lefty carry. And that pocket clip is a little ginormous. I would have also loved to see a flat spot underneath that pocket clip so that doesn't start to shred my pockets up rather quickly. All that said, I love the knife. I think it's a very well-made knife. Do I think $92 is out of line? I don't. Not for a 4-inch bladed knife. You got dual grinds on this because of the spear point blade. Nitro V is a great steel. You have all the milling on the G10 plus the layered G10. And not to mention this action is outstanding out of box, nice and snappy. And I can use those thumb studs as well as getting a titanium pocket clip on there. Love to hear your thoughts on this one. And let me know what y'all think about the new Civivi Permatrox. And like I said, if you want to see a dedicated review, since I already have the testing, y'all let me know that as well. If you're interested in either one of these, like I said earlier, they will be linked down in the description along with any of the other new arrivals. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave those down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace!